Back tonight, here on In Focus. There seems to be no end in sight for the opposition of the Basic Education Law Amendments Act following the anti-Bela bill march by civil society organizations and political parties represented in the Government of National Unity, such as the Democratic Alliance and the Freedom Front Plus. The African National Congress Study Group on Basic Education has hit back at the action, describing it as misguided. The party is calling for President Cyril Ramaphosa to immediately promulgate all sections of the Act. For more on this story, we are now joined by Tshepo Louw, the whip of the ANC Study Group on Basic Education. Tshepo, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. It seems we have, as a country, not reached consensus on this, even with the public consultation process that would have happened. At least there's a section in society where we have not built enough confidence around this particular act and the issues that will arise from it. Three areas that those who are marching believe will be under attack: the autonomy, the language, and the rights. Firstly, I mean, how do you address that question of the autonomy of parents to choose the medium of instruction at schools?
No, thanks very much. Let me greet the viewers at home. And I think, like we have said in the day, we had a long day today in trying to clarify and trying to speak on to the Basic Laws Amendment Act, which aims to enhance educational quantity, equity, what our schooling system. It seeks to address the historical disparities that were created by the apartheid regime, ensuring that every child has access to quality education. And I think what you have just raised is that, one, you would understand that we would have raised a concern on whereby some schools have been using the admission policies to prohibit majority of our learners, whom we classify as black majority learners, with regard to that. And the Act seeks to speak of that, where the Act seeks to speak of equity and quality education, that seeks to speak of making sure that we balance the imbalances, where you would understand where we come from as a country. Yeah. We also wish to clarify the fact that when it speaks of autonomy, where the Act also seeks to demystify and rectify where there are schools that are utilizing these policies to prohibit, again, our learners to be in position to attend to schools that we classify as formal literacy schools. And we are quite delighted that the people who are demonstrating are minority people who, at the same time, do not want us to believe that the Bela Act is a monster that seeks to divide, where else it speaks to bring equality, where else it speaks to speak of balancing from the previous regime to the current regime. So everything in the Act, it's about making sure that there is equality, and then the young people, our learners, are able to access schools without any hesitation.
Yeah. So are you saying that the parents' autonomy is still protected? Do you believe, as the ANC Study Group, that parents should have autonomy in terms of choosing the language of instructions in school?
It's quite imperative. The Constitution also seeks to speak about that, where it says, one, every learner must be able to have access to school without any discriminatory. And parents must be in position to decide as to what language of choice, based on the fact that they want to have or their child to be able to be taught with, so that they're able to have access to education and they're able to align with the economical growth of the country, so that we're able to understand that we are living in a diverse and multilingualistic country, which is South Africa, which seeks to speak of the imbalances and to respond to the current needs of our people. So the parents will have autonomy, but what the Act is trying to say, the Act is saying, in where you have chosen your mother tongue language, let's add up on indigenous languages, where we're able to allow any other learner, irrespective of race, irrespective of where the learner comes from or the socio-economical status, the learner must be able to have quality and have access to education.
Yeah. So AfriForum says, well, you are then trying to address the issue of insufficient schools by taking away the powers of the SGB to decide. Why not build more schools? Then you won't have this challenge of placement. where you are now wanting to cram children in existing schools and then dictate what language policies should be in those schools?
It's unfortunate I classify them as mad people because, one, for the mere fact that we are saying that let's merge all our schools. One, we are saying that let everybody have access to the schools. Because I'm saying it doesn't make sense. We can't be giving money as government to the quintile 4, quintile 5 schools, and they prohibit other learners to enter through the language barrier. I mean, building of the schools is another issue that we are still going to discuss. And we believe that the Bela Act is going to give also ourselves an ability to build better, proper schools that are well-resourced, that are meshed, and that are going to be working together in making sure they respond to the current dynamics of our education system. So I'm classifying as mad people because merging schools and having to open up for every learner to enter into every school without any prohibition has nothing to do with overcrowding, but it has anything to do with better equitable opportunity for the education system to be better of South Africa, and it should respond to the needs of the economy, which is a challenge now in the country.
Yeah. They're saying there will be a significant increase in state power, granting HODs, for example, final say over particular hair, language, and other policies in school, saying you are going back to the days or the historic days of state schools. And this has got historical abuses and diminishing the powers of teachers as well as parents.
I'm of the view that the Act is clear when it speaks of head of departments. HGBs, teachers, parents will play their role. But when necessary, a head of departments will be in position to intervene if necessary. Mainly because I would have referred yet earlier to say there are cases where learners are prohibited or there are barriers where a system is being used in education, where learners can't enter a school based on language issues, based on admissions, that there are discrepancies that are being put forward. Now, HODs will play an oversight role in making sure that they approve it would align with the Constitution of South Africa and making sure that everybody has access to school without discrimination, to respond to the court cases that could have said to us, go back and align and respond to the needs of the child, of the motive forces, so they're able to access any school without any hindering.
So the language by the Democratic Alliance that's saying, well, we are fighting for mother tongue education while the ANC is attacking mother tongue education. How do you address that concern?
It's misleading because the Act is clear, like I've said, I've highlighted. We're going to allow medium of instruction in our mother tongue, but the Act is also saying in amongst every school, they will have to submit their policy, language policies to the head of department so that they play an oversight role in making sure, while we have chosen the medium of instruction based on your demographics and based on the quintile and the disparatives or the imperatives issues that compel you to do so, you are able to align within and you are able to add up 3 to 4 languages that ones are indigenous and then others should be aligned as based on the demographics of an area where the school is being situated with. So the Bela is trying to balance, the Bela is trying to act, the Bela is trying to align and bring back and align everybody to understand that it's quite imperative you're able to access your school that is near your neighborhood and the school that is having more adequate resources without any hindering or without anyone stopping you to do so.